Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the Harry Winston Sports Chronograph, 42mm in zalium. You can see this Harry Winston Sports Chronograph and purchase it on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time to see our full listing for this watch, with additional accessories included, high resolution images, and naturally complete pricing details. Now on my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference, you can see this one of 300 limited edition piece wears quite compact and quite capably on a smaller wrist. For a modern oversized timepiece, the fit is superb. The watch is actually quite constrained between the lugs. From lug to lug, and it does feature articulated lugs, more on that in a minute, but from lug to lug, this watch measures 52mm, but it wears even more compact than that. In terms of thickness, 15mm, and you can see that there might be a little bit of a complication pulling it underneath the tightest of dress sleeves because of the cantilever of the bezel, but under a sweater, under a sport jacket or blazer sleeve, you'll have absolutely no impediment whatsoever. Now 42mm across the case, that doesn't include the crown guard, chronograph pushers, or crown. The watch wears light because of its zalium construction. It's basically a zirconium alloy, something that Harry Winston actually came up with on a proprietary basis, and it's used widely through their sports models. Now this watch does have 200-meter water resistance, so it certainly qualifies as a sporting timepiece. And you'll note that 42mm is sort of the gateway to oversized status. 43 is more definitively oversized. 41, full-sized but not oversized. This watch walks a fine line between the two, and that makes it wearable on a broad range of wrists. You could wear this watch on a wrist as compact, in my opinion, as 14 centimeters in circumference, and here's why. First of all, the lugs move. You can see that they are articulated at the junction with the case, so they can pull down tighter around a smaller wrist. You'll also note that they're relatively short and they wrap down. As they exit the case flank, they turn down dramatically. So this is a watch that almost has effective camber from side to side. It arcs, it drapes itself across your wrist rather than fighting the way a larger timepiece with straight lugs might. Now 42mm also gives you a broad, open-worked dial as a basis for enjoying the mechanism, the displays of time, the display of the date. Of course, you have chronograph, hours, minutes, and seconds, as well as a constant second indicator at 3 o'clock, and you'll note a very discrete date wheel at 12 o'clock. Before we jump to the dial, let's invert. Let's go to the strap. The strap is very flexible, natural vulcanized rubber. You can see it's striated in a fashion that matches the effective evacuation or relief of the lugs. You'll see on the bottom side it's also hollowed out, so these hollows on both sides allow sweat, moisture, and grit to escape your wrist on a hot day. It is a true sporting timepiece in that sense, designed to be just as comfortable when worn in action as when worn at rest. Now while the watch is zalium, it has a stainless steel twin-trigger double deployant clasp for security, so you don't drop it when donning it or taking it off, and thanks to the twin triggers, this one stays shut when you close it. It requires positive release. Moreover, the twin swing arms mean that the watch doesn't have that one big up and over that can pinch a smaller wrist in a single fold deployant. So just as the watch wears well on a smaller wrist, the clasp is also nicely matched to a smaller wrist. You can see that the watch has a open worked dial with all the features I mentioned prior, but you might note only at second glance that it also has a unidirectional rotating dive style bezel. So if you want to time something with the chronograph, you can, but simultaneously you can align the luminescent pearl with the minute hand, and you can time two concurrent events, one 0 to 60 minutes and the other using the chronograph function. Now you'll also note a number of recurring motifs in the watch on the bezel flanks, of course in the crown guard structure, and around the periphery of the dial. You can note it best at the base of the dial. Let me see if I can get an angle to show this to good advantage. But you can see this almost sawtooth pattern around the base of the dial. That's the Harry Winston arch motif. So the watch is thematically consistent with recurring motifs that tie it very strongly to the underlying Harry Winston brand. Being able to gaze through a dial with such depth really celebrates mechanical watchmaking as such and gives the watch a unique aesthetic within the sports category. Now you can see on the case back it is of zalium. It does have a solid case back screwed in to help it attain that 200-meter water resistance. Now underneath we have a Harry Winston HW 1018 movement, essentially a modular automatic chronograph caliber. This is a caliber with 58 joules, automatic winding, about a 42-hour power reserve. It does feature a vertical clutch mechanism such that when you start it and stop it, it starts without stagger, as you can see, stops without any kind of jump or disruption, and always resets precisely to the index at 12. Plus, because it's a vertical clutch architecture, you can simply leave it engaged continuously with no additional wear and tear on the underlying mechanism, so you can have hours, minutes, and seconds at center. Moreover, this watch does feature hacking seconds, so you can stop the balance precisely synchronized to a known reference time if you are using the chronograph as a seconds hand, and it has a quick set function for rapidly correcting the date. You can see and you can purchase this versatile and compact wearing Harry Winston Zalium chronograph on our website.